Hello, my friends. It's Moot, and it's about 3:30 in the morning at the moment, and I'm just sitting here in this empty parking lot because I was out for a little leisurely stroll at this hour, and it's pretty nice to be able to do that, and I try to take advantage of it. The place where I live at the moment is a place where I feel comfortable doing that, walking outside at all hours, and I do. Anyway, so I'm here, and this is actually a halfway decent place to do this because oftentimes I have information that I want to share, but it's just not convenient to sit down and do a video for whatever reason. And but sometimes I just record it into my phone, just talking in my voice memo thing. But then I feel weird about putting that on YouTube or something because it's just audio. Although I do have some audio that I want to share soon as I get my old phone fixed. I just had to get a new phone a few weeks ago because my screen died on my other one, and I had just recorded some channeled info that I felt compelled, that I was told to share. I just look at now I've got to get that thing fixed, and there's a reason for the delay. Maybe it just wasn't time. It's funny because I know the timing is always perfect, but it really it's bewildering because the gist of the message is that the time is now. Like, we're at the doors of this big shift in consciousness that is happening on this planet. And so I'm going to get down to business since I just mentioned that. If that made any sense to you, what I just said, if you understand the law of attraction, if you've had a spiritual awakening, then the chances, if you've anything that I've said to this point on any of my previous videos has resonated with you, then there's a high likelihood that you, like me, are one of the volunteers who has come here from elsewhere. Yeah, you're an ET. Look, we got to get over, it's not talking about little green men. We're talking about people whose origin is non-physical in general. Or, to begin with. So I'm not going to get into it, but if you just look up Dolores Cannon, the 3 waves of volunteers. I am a second wave volunteer. And if you're watching this and you haven't turned this off, thinking I'm a kook yet, then you probably are too. And what I'm about to share, or what I really want to what's on my heart, only really applies to us, starseeds, lightworkers, whatever term is being used this week. Terminology is counterproductive. Usually, but it can help us to at least identify others who may be of a similar vibration. So terminology is useful, but you can't get so caught up in it because that ultimately is sort of an ego thing. It doesn't serve you in the end to get all caught up in, oh, I'm a starseed, I'm an indigo, whatever. It's kind of misty out here. It feels good, but it's weird. Just notice that I'm getting all moist. Anyway, I don't know if any of the information that I am about to speak about applies to others that are kind of from here, that people that are of the earth, people who have lived many lifetimes in succession, people who are on the wheel of karma, people who continue to live unawakened life after unawakened life. And look, that is not a value judgment. Everyone will eventually awaken. That is what this event is about, and that is why I'm here, and that is why maybe you're here, is to help facilitate that. It's imminent. And the messages that I've been getting lately are definitely showing that a big change is occurring. In my own life, sure, but globally, and you can see it all around you. You see people changing. But I don't know if this information, which is all, you know, stuff that's come from directly from my guides, I don't know if this applies to just everybody, but if this resonates with you, good. So, you know, I just wanted to put that sort of disclaimer, sort of a caveat there that, you know, this might not apply to you, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not less than or greater than or whatever. We're all the same. We're all on this journey together. And I have a particular function that I'm serving here. And those of you who this does resonate with are also here to serve a particular function. And it's important that we all awaken to this and learn who we are, learn what we are, and start being who we are. You know, that whole thing, you know, the army, be all you can be. That actually, I mean, that works in the third dimension, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually not be all you can be, it's be all that you are. Because you already are. So let me break it down. Here are some concepts that are important to know. All time is simultaneous. We move through the time dimension in a linear fashion. Like a needle moves across a record. We see the groove in front of us. We're like seeing it from the perspective of the needle on the record. We are moving through time, mostly in a linear fashion. Sometimes in dreams, that's how precognition happens. Like, I mean, this has happened to me tons of times where I've visited a place in a dream and something catastrophic or weird happened, and then a couple of weeks later, a few weeks later, it's always been within a short span of time, I visit that place in actuality, and you'd say, oh, come on, it was just a coincidence, it was just, you know, whatever, because that weird thing, because like at one time it was this thrift store, and it was this thrift store, I was in there with some friends, and the place caught on fire, and we put out the fire, and all this other crazy crap happened. Okay. I actually wandered into this thrift store that I'd never been to here in Fort Myers, Florida, and and it was the place, down to the Ludwig snare drum up on a high shelf. Every detail. It was exactly the place. It was the place. Just like the dream. But the catastrophic thing didn't happen, and I wasn't there with my friends. So you'd say, well, I mean, see, it didn't happen. There are things that are in the current. We are the co-creators of our reality. We are here. We are divine beings in physical form. We are here. We are spirits in the material world. Like the song. We're here, we're spirits having a physical experience. There are events, there are things, there are life tracks that we collectively are on. The future is not set in stone. Nostradamus said it too. There are, and this is why Nostradamus actually gave his used his techniques to speak to someone centuries in the future, to give them his prophecies, was because he thought rightly that the future that he had seen using his, possibly, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to make any judgment on whether I think that it's a good thing or not. All I know is that it was legit and it did happen. He saw the future, but he didn't see the future. You could say, well, I mean, he was a fake because, a bunch of his stuff didn't come to pass. Yeah, he said as much. He said as much, that the future isn't set in stone. There are potentialities that if we do not collectively change vibrations and change and intervene in a way, there are things that are going to happen that are not nice. There are other things that are very nice, very pleasant that could happen on this current life track that we may actually inadvertently prevent. Things like fear and doubt and worry, guilt, shame, all the lower vibrations are like blockers to any sort of source energy that's coming your way. And that's where, like, the name it and claim it Christian folks have it right, is that, it does block blessings. They reframe it through a Christian lens, through a religious lens, but really, it does. Any sort of doubt or fear or worry, anxiety, indicates a lack of trust in the great source, creator of all. The creator of all, which is also the creation of all, of which you are a part. You are. I am. We are collectively God. Collectively, we are everything that is. Every sentient entity in the universe collectively is creating and directing what happens within it. Okay, moving on, I'm going to drill down to something a little more specific. You create your own reality by your thoughts and beliefs. Everything that you have experienced to this point in your life, you have either consciously or unconsciously been complicit in it. All the pain that you have experienced is not lost on the source, the creator. And it's not lost on your guides. And it's not lost on the ascended masters. It's not lost on anyone that cares about you. And there are plenty that care about you. It's not an accident. The traumas that you have faced are for a reason. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you. Awaken to this reality and realize that from here on out, you can direct what is happening here. You have that power and you have that right. And in fact, you have come here to learn how to do that and to teach others how to do that. This is how we are going to free mankind from the prison that is the wheel of karma, that is this endless cycle of rebirth. They can't get off. They don't know what to do. That's why we're here. And we are springing into action, millions of us now. It's kicking into high gear because this shift is happening. The frequency of the planet is actually raising, the core operating frequency. People are getting smarter, getting more capacity to learn and to retain info and to communicate info. As I said in my last video about empaths, we actually the things that are happening now, I use a lot of computer terminology, and I'm about to use a lot more, and that's because these things fit very well with look, we have needed to have this this terminology, these computer analogies to properly describe what is happening. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. This is a holographic simulation. This life is a simulation. Itself, this life itself, this existence that you are living, is not reality. Reality is the non-physical, that which you cannot experience with your five senses. You can have peripheral experiences that would suggest, but there's nothing with the five senses that really directly, those of you who are looking for proof will never find it ever. Those of you who don't need proof and are able to understand and trust your intuition know that that belief is not even necessary. You just know now because you've seen it. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. That's what spiritual awakening is about, is awakening to the reality that the greater multidimensional universe, the inner space, as I said, that's reality. And what you experience out here in this physical form is the illusion. This is the illusion. This is the simulation. Once you get that through your head and through your heart, into your spirit, and reprogram yourself based upon that knowledge, and really contemplate what it may mean that this is not actually the reality, that this is a simulation. This means that it's malleable. This means that armed with this knowledge, you are now awakening to become the co-creator, the conscious co-creator. That means you're no longer going to be manifesting pain for yourself. You are going to be making better choices. You are going to not have to deal with so many horrible people. You're not going to be abused as much because you are going to realize that, wait, I can stop this. I don't have to just be a punching bag. I don't have to be an emotional pincushion. I can change it. And once you realize that, oh boy, the fun begins. The fun begins. Life begins to happen for you. And this is what we're here to teach. This is what we came to learn and subsequently teach. And we are going to lead by example, all of us volunteers. That's what we're here to do, especially those second waivers. We kind of have that sort of job, is to just come here and be great. We're just here to be great. And that's what we're going to do. So, okay. This is a holographic simulation. It's not real. And you create it. And you have created it. You have your own layer of it. Your own layer. No one can mess with your layer. You are the only one who has permission. However, like I said earlier, even the pain that you have experienced, you have been possibly unconsciously, but you have been complicit in it. You allowed it because that is the greatest, perhaps, law of the universe, is that no one and nothing can infringe upon your free will. That's the law of this third dimensional universe that we live in, that we experience. Apparently there are other places where there isn't so much of that. There are other things in place. Look, everything works. But we got to get over the fact that this stuff sounds woo-woo and far out. We got to get over it. It's time to work. It's time to get on track. It's time to start doing your thing. And I had to just get over the fact that this stuff seems weird and seems all, far out. I know. Can't help it. It is what it is. You're here to do a job. I'm here to do a job. What I'm doing right now, as clumsy as it may be, is me doing my job. What I do with music is me doing my job. Wherever you're at, you don't have to do anything to shine your light. You don't have to do anything. Just be your authentic self. That's why I call this channel Your Authentic Self. Is because that is what I'm advocating that we do. We have to become our authentic self. We have to become the true person. Like I said, it's not about be all you can be. It's about be all that you are. All that you already are. Okay. Here's the main point, and I'm going to get off of here. Your spirit guides. Who are they? What are they? Look, you are a divine soul having a human experience. That means your consciousness is currently limited. One thing that they want you to know is that there is no lack inherent in that. There is no lack inherent in humanity. Just because you're in a physical form, a human form, doesn't make you lesser. Just because you're not some, seventh density being doesn't make, at least currently, doesn't make you less than or more than or whatever. It's just, you chose to do this. You chose to do this. You are a volunteer here. And you may have never had a physical experience before this. And that might be why you've had a tough time. It explains a lot. Again, look up Dolores Cannon, The 3 Waves of Volunteers. Just watch her lecture on it. You don't have to even read the whole book. Just watch her lecture on it, and if any of it resonates with you, congratulations, you're one of them. You're one of us. It made perfect sense to me. It was just like light bulb. Like, it just completely resonated with me. Your spirit guides are simply the part of your team who are helping you to do this. Since you are in a limited conscious state right now, you are in this, Oh, I need to talk about that. So, before you awaken spiritually, you are basically guided by the internal navigation system of this physical body, which is your ego, which says, I am Matt Baxley, and I am this, and I do this, and this is my job. And it's like you identify with the physical form and the physical trappings of this physical simulation. And that is your reality, and you are fully immersed and fully convinced. Look, that's not weird. There's nothing wrong with that. That's exactly what we have come here to do. This is the most immersive simulator ever devised. And it's so immersive, though, that because of the action of some not nice entities, the lack purveyors, the energy vampires, mankind is in a stranglehold, and we're here to help fix that. We got to get to work. We don't have a lot of time, and because there's going to be a divergence point where we sort of graduate and the earth takes on a new form, sort of sheds its skin, and that is when the fourth density begins. Look this stuff up. I know it sounds weird. Look, if it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. I'm not here to convince anybody or to, preach to anybody. I'm here to just share the information that I feel compelled to share. So your spiritual guides are they're your guardian angels. If that's, if that term is more palatable, that's fine. For a lot of people it is. I use them interchangeably because I recognize they're both. They're whatever. They're all. They are. Their job is to see to it that I am successful. They are co-creators with me. They are not bound to the physical dimension. They're not bound to the time dimension. But because they cannot infringe upon the free will of me or anyone else. Yeah, they're my guides, but they still cannot operate unless I give them permission. They can't change anything in my layer of the simulation without my permission. Your guides can't do anything for you unless you ask them to. That's just the law around here. The energy vampires, you would call them the demonic realm or whatever, the Luciferian kingdom. That sounds all religious-y. I don't like to use those terms and stuff, but if that helps you to understand what I'm talking about, that's previously what we thought of them as. The lack entities. Those who were creating lack. They have found all kinds of clever ways to try to circumvent the free will of man by because they need energy. They need energy, and they're cut off from the source. They've cut themselves off from the source. They don't have a way of getting source energy, and so in order to sustain existence, they must steal it from others. And so they've devised all these clever systems that you see all around you, and that's why this world sucks so bad. Is because these are just all what Vadim Zeland in his book Reality Transurfing calls pendulums, destructive pendulums. I recommend that book highly, by the way. Vadim Zeland, that is Vadimzeland, Reality Transurfing. It changed my life. It can change yours. It is... Sorry, it's starting to rain. Just check it out. Anyway, start talking to your guides. Start asking them for help. You need to. Because the quickest way to success, the quickest way to getting to your bliss, the quickest way to accomplishing the goal that you have set out to accomplish here on this planet, you may not even be fully aware of what it is, but they are. And understand that you already talked about all this before you incarnated here. This was all discussed. Right here, right now, is your rendezvous point with your guides. If you haven't already met them, meditate and talk to them. They want to connect with you because it's important that we work in tandem with them. It's important that we allow them to be the co-creators of the reality here, because we are limited to the physical plane right now, and we're limited to our consciousness. We're limited to the time dimension, the time buffer, as I've spoken about before. They are not. They know what's around the next corner, and they will help you to get to the best thing that could possibly happen for you. Like I said about the future not being set in stone, your guides may help you, if you'll allow them to. They will help you to They will help you to coincide with the best outcome for every situation in your life. Because right now, you are careening toward one outcome or another. And if you haven't consciously made a choice on what outcome is best, then you're just going to be subject to whatever vibration you currently hold relative to that thing. It may not be good. That's why you got to be aware of this stuff. I'm starting to ramble. The problem is that this is all very... It's big stuff, and there's a lot to it, and I could speak for hours and hours and hours and barely scratch the surface. But the good thing is that we have time, and... did this spark any interest whatsoever? My main message, again, to sort of summarize, is that this is if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you are most likely a starseed, a volunteer, oh, it is starting to rain. I should go. And there are things that you need to be doing here, and the main one is, right now, to start connecting with your guides. Meet them, talk to them, let them talk to you, let them talk through you if you're into that, and it will change your life, because they will not steer you wrong. And if you ever get contacted by an entity or feel like you're being talked to by something that wants you to give it anything, or tries to sell you something, or tries to convince you of anything, don't listen to it. It's probably a fake. Your guides that love you, that are rooting for you, that absolutely know you, they're your best friends you could ever have. And because they know you better than you could ever know yourself, because they see you from the inside out, from the outside in. They see this whole thing, and they are conspiring with you for your success here on this 3D sojourn. So let them help you, and I'm going to walk toward home because it's going to rain on me. So that's my main thing, I guess, is start getting to know your guides, and start letting them direct you and guide you, because that's their job. That is their function, their number one function. And so you're not bothering them by asking them for help. In fact, it's about time you did. That's all for now. I love you, and I thank you so much for listening to my long rambling message. And hopefully the next one will be a bit more focused, and maybe I'll even like prepare or something rather than improvise. I'm walking in the rain at this point. Have a wonderful day.